appreciate you joining us. We have an amazing class for you. And at the top of the hour, we're going to start the class. But before we get started, I got a little Van Halen for you. What a great way to start the class. What do you think, Karen? Isn't that awesome? We'll get started in just 1 minute. All right, here we go. Top of the hour, I'm going to click the record button, do a formal introduction. Again, I appreciate you guys joining us. Sit back, relax, get your notepads out. We have an amazing class. 1 second. Hello, everybody. This is Scott Hudspeth with Agent Mastermind. Welcome to the call. It's a beautiful day somewhere, so I'm coming to you live from Dallas, Texas at a conference, so I'm excited to be here, as always. And I have a new business partner on the line with us, and I'm honored to call him a partner. I actually have two people on the phone that work side by side together that have been in the industry a long time, helped hundreds, if not thousands, of agents to grow their business. And I have Tyler on the call with us with his friend Laura, if I said that correctly. Welcome to the call, you guys.
Hi, Scott. Hey, the Van Halen, I'm loving it. That's my go-to pump-up song. So that's great. Thanks for the opportunity. And like you just said, we've been in the industry, Cole, our company, for over 70 years, helping real estate agents build their business. And personally, I've been here for 10 years.
Wow,
through the ups and downs of the real estate industry and working with top agents, really understanding what's working for them, their mindset, best practices. So I'm excited to kind of talk about some of that stuff today. And I have Laura with me, Scott.
That's right.
Laura, welcome to the call. Welcome to the call.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right. Thought I'd shout in with you guys and show myself as being live here in a motel room, bunked up when it's raining outside, but we're all good.
That's right. Well, you gotta show yourself that we really are somewhat looking like the pictures that we put up.
That's right.
Exactly. All right, so you ready for us to kick it off, Scott?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Yeah, and if you guys don't mind, if you would hide your camera just because it lets the people see what you're showing better on the slides.
Okay.
Is that cool?
You got it.
Perfect. Much better. Thank you so much. All right.
Great. All right. Well, Laura, why don't you kick it off with just a little bit of a history about Cole and who we are, and then we're going to just talk about, what the top agents are doing across the country, okay?
All right. Thanks, Tyler. Well, we've been around actually since 1947, started off as a crisscross directory, formerly called the Blue Book, and people still know us as the Cole directory. We just ran across last week, I ran across a couple blogs that mentioned the Cole directory.
Absolutely.
And so we've been around a long time. We have a long history with real estate agents, but a lot of other industries as well, as like debt collectors, door-to-door sales folks, law enforcement. Obviously, we've kind of siloed those areas and provide real estate agents an actual product. We provide insurance agents an actual product, and small business owners an actual product to help them basically find new customers, reach out to folks, and get them to know who you are, or as a reverse phone lookup as well, or reverse. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about how agents can basically utilize our product in tandem with what they're already doing to go after folks and build their brand, basically.
Exactly. Build their network is what it comes
down
to. So, I'm all about stats, and I know you Google and there's stats for everything, but, going to all these, I go to a lot of top coaching and training events every year. This year alone, I've probably been to 12 to 15 different big training events, and hearing what the top teachers are teaching and learning what the top agents are doing. And there's all these stats that I come across, but the two biggest ones that I see all the time are, in most markets, 90% of the transactions are done by the top 10% of the agents. So what are those top 10 agents doing to build their brand, to build their network, to get more transactions, et cetera? And then another one I just recently saw is 8 out of 10 new real estate agents are likely to fail within their first 2 years. And I just think that's huge, because if you think about, people think about starting new businesses. You have restaurants and you have bars. Those don't do that. You have a high failure rate. But in reality, new real estate agents are more likely to be out of the business in 2 years than restaurants and bars. So my question for you guys today are, what are you doing to make sure that you're not part of that statistic.
Right.
And what are you doing? And what are you doing? And if you know, hey, I'm not part of that statistic. I know I'm not going to fail. You know, I'm in the top 10% or I'm close to the top 10%. You know, so, but what are you going to do for next year in 2015, Scott? What are they going to do to get from 12 transactions to 20 transactions? Okay? Or what are you going to do?
Man, I got it, dude.
I got the answer to that. One more deal per month, man. That's all it really is, right?
Exactly. Or from 20 transactions to 40 transactions.
Right.
So what I want everybody to do today is to write down your goals. Really think about what you want your 2015 to be. How many transactions do you want? And I want you to envision those goals and then figure out a plan of action. Prepare yourself. Set yourself up to make those goals for 2015. So I want to share with you some common traits of top producers. Like I said, we're talking to top agents all the time, and I've been keeping notes. You know, the last month I've dedicated a lot of time to interviewing, actually spending a half hour with the top agents and letting them share with me what they're doing. And so a lot of them are telling me that this is what they're doing. They're keeping a daily schedule to manage their time. They don't want the job to become them, all right? They're dedicating at least 3 hours in that schedule every day to prospect for new business, okay? And these are people that they have not met before. We call them not mets. So they want to have 20 conversations a day with new people that they have never met before, okay? They're also then dedicating 2 hours a day for follow-up. You know, these are their mets. These are people that are in their database now. Their spheres of influence, their nurtures, people in their network. They're always reaching out to those people as well. And they're also then having accountability. So they're using coaches and trainers, or it's, you know, a Facebook group like you all have where it's keeping each other accountable. It's reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, is there somebody, I don't care if you're across the country, but every morning that I can check in with, we can go over our goals and hold each other accountable, just like a running partner, a workout partner. Think about it that way. Okay.
You know what's funny about that last slide, Tyler, is you said you went and interviewed top agents. Guys, I mean, that lesson in itself, find out what top agents, the top 10% are doing, and ask them. They're very happy to tell you because they know that it's not like they're going to wake up tomorrow morning and go, oh, they're going to be the same 10%. It's work. They're putting in time. They're putting teams in place. They're holding people accountable. They get it. So if you want to know what it takes to be successful and be in that top 10%, like Tyler said, go ask them.
You're exactly right. Or find a mentor. Find a mentor. So if it's someone in your office or if it's somebody on a Facebook group, find a mentor and learn from them every day. And it's very important to do that. So we're going to talk I'm going to bring up a couple of case studies. Like I said, the last month I've been interviewing a lot of agents. And so here's Ron Windsor. You can see his picture on the screen here. And Laura, you're on the conversation with me when we interviewed him about 2 weeks ago, right? And he's a young cat. He's, I think, 30, 31, newer in the industry. So this is what he's doing, kind of his schedule every day. So like I said, he's prospecting for 3 hours a day. So from 8 to 11 every morning, he's prepping and he calls people that he doesn't know. All right, he's using an auto dialer to make those 400 to 500 phone calls every day. And his goal is to find nurturers, find people before they've already raised their hand to list their property with someone else. His goal is to have those conversations with people. And he wants to either get an email address for them, a contact information, but a way that he can follow up with them and build that database. All right? So then after that, he then does his follow-up. So he takes the auto dialer out of the equation, and now he just follows up with people and has, picks up the phone and calls people, whether they're his spheres of influence and asking them for referrals, asking them for repeat business, or it's going and finding those people he's already nurtured and building those relationships with him. And do you want to talk about, Laura, about like his folders that he talks about as well?
Well, I was going to say too, but his script is nothing earth-shattering. I mean, he just goes in there with information like, hey, did you know that X, Y, and Z about that neighborhood? So it's not like he's got this super secret script that...
And actually later on, I have it on one of the slides,
you do?
his script. So we'll get into that later on as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he has color-coded folders that he carries around with him. So his hot leads are obviously red.
And he brings them everywhere he goes.
Right.
He does not leave a room without these hot folders and the red hot red folder with him of these are the hot leads that if they call at any time,
Exactly.
I have their information in front of me.
Right, and so then, and he'll go to his other appointments or whatever.
Tyler.
Yes.
Hey, I got we might have a little bit of delay, and I'm sorry, but I got a question coming in. You guys cool with the question here?
Absolutely.
So that so on the 3 hours, I don't know if he was specific or not, but is it 3 hours of calling expireds, FSBOs, or cold calling, or like who is he calling for 3 hours?
Neighborhoods, just into neighborhoods is all he's doing. And so he does not go in, because he's like, if I'm going to call a neighborhood, I'm going to come across FSBOs and expireds during that conversation. So if I'm just calling with a script, and it's as easy as, his script that he uses, let me find it here to be exact, is, he has it's as an easy script as you can get. But basically saying, I was wondering, I've had numerous listings in your area that have come up. I was wondering what your plans are with your property. It's as easy as that. And just having those conversations.
But where he gets the information from is he just farms neighborhoods. So he just goes out to and says, he looks for homes with aging or areas with aging populations, and he will follow up with them and like Tyler mentioned, use that script of, hi, my name's Ron Windsor. I'm with Century 21. I didn't know if you guys realize this, but homes are, selling for X, Y, and Z in your neighborhood. What are your thoughts about?
Yep. I've seen several properties sell at listing price in your area over the last few weeks. I'm curious with the recent activity in the market, what are your future plans for the property? And then from there, it's just having conversations with people. So our next case study, though, we'll talk about how some people are doing FSBOs and expireds as well, Scott. And so, but this is what he has to say, Laura, about cold calling, right?
Right. They really catch a homeowner in the information gathering phase, and most often they're going to end up choosing me when they're ready to take the next step. I mean, you guys read the National Realtor Association stats. It says 66% of folks who are looking to sell their home go with the first real estate agent they quote-unquote interview. Well, you know what an interview is. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. What are your future plans? That's their interview.
Exactly. So, yeah, he's just calling in the neighborhoods, and he says it doesn't require a lot of money to get started. And then he talks about think old school tactics. So go back to old school. So if you have a conversation with somebody, immediately get a thank you card and send out a thank you card. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, And people love that kind of stuff, the old school, the rapport, whatever you can do to build that relationship, right, Laura? All right, so let's go to the next. Let's talk about Glenn Ross. He's an agent in Austin, Texas. So the same thing, he prospects every morning. He's been doing this for 20 or 30 years. He prospects Monday through Thursday. He takes Fridays off from prospecting, he says. So he goes every morning and he calls FSBOs first thing in the morning and expireds, where you can find a phone number for him. And then he switches off and calls around recently just listed and just sold. His goal is to have 20 contacts a day. And so he said, 20 contacts a day, 4 days a week, is to have 100 new contacts a week. And he considers a contact someone who doesn't hang up on him. All right, just anybody that will allow him to have a conversation, basically ask a question, what are your plans with the property? That's what he considers a contact. For him, he knows that 15 dials equals 1 contact. And his goal is, again, just to capture as many follow-ups to add to his CRM. He uses a CRM for future follow-up. During the afternoon, he focuses from 12 to 2 on follow-ups. And then he does business appointments from 2 to 5 p.m. every afternoon.
Hey, are there any questions so far, or do you guys have any questions from the audience?
Or Scott, you interrupt us as we're going.
I think you're going to cover. Yeah, that's cool. I think you're going to cover this. I got a little bit of a delay, and I apologize, but I think you're going to cover a lot of the questions coming in, like where's he getting the phone numbers, where's he getting the list of people in the neighborhood, so I know that you're going to cover that. So let's just wait till the end, and we'll cover all those questions at the end, but I have some great questions coming in about that. So
okay, great. Yeah, and Glenn, he's on pace to do 30 or 40 transactions this year doing what he's doing. So here's the question, guys, is who can I reach out to that I don't know? All right, so if you are not one of these people that knows everybody, I have some of those friends that know everybody, Laura.
I'm one of those people. I do know everybody.
Okay, so if you're not one of those people and you can't rely on your sphere of influence to just be sending over contacts, referrals to you nonstop, how you get in front of new people. And so we know that 12% of homeowners are planning to move within the next 12 months. All right, so 1 out of every 10 homeowners is going to move within the next year. And then about 70% of those sellers will only interview 1 agent to list and sell their home. Okay, so 2 out of 3 sellers are going to go with the agent that's top of mind is what it comes down to.
And that,
right?
yeah, that comes back to what we were talking about earlier, is you just have to reach out to people that you don't know.
Yep, so we're going to talk about, you can reach out to people you don't know through the power of just listed and just sold phone calls,
right?
Geographic farming, and we have buyer campaigns. So let's just hop into, just listed, just solds, and why it's so important. Okay, it's so important because you're using, you have a listing. This is the most exciting part about being a real estate agent. I have a new listing. It is a great way for you to now to reach out to the neighbors, everybody. It gives you your visibility, your credibility, and people are paying attention to that new house that just got on the market. And so one of our agents, Christy Siegel, here of Reese and Nichols in Kansas City, she just loves Cole because it's the possibilities of having new business by contacting people you don't know yet. That's the power of Cole.
Right. And so what does she mean by that is basically, again, it goes back to what we started off with in 1947. It's a crisscross directory of addresses and phone numbers.
Yep.
So unlike a phone book, which gives you Anderson, Baker, Carlson, down the list, it goes by neighborhoods.
Correct. So with our system, we'll log in here in a minute or two, Laura, but you can do searches by street, within radius, or an entire neighborhood, and get all of the information that way as well.
Right. So we just wanted to jump in now and show you, because we're seeing a lot of questions about do not call list.
Yeah,
and cool. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah,
it's
awesome.
Really, and that's a huge
call,
thing, and something that we deal with. We have 223 million people on the do not call.
Yep.
list.
So we're in a database, and so we're going to log in.
Wow.
And we're going to go in here and just do a search here. Let's just go into do the neighbor search here right away, Laura.
Okay.
And let's go put in the address for me.
And you're gonna just so everybody knows, you're gonna show them. Hey, Tyler.
Yep.
You're gonna show them what this system is, how it works, and you're doing a demo right now. But you're gonna share with them how they would get access. Now, guys, don't go there yet. Make sure and pay attention to this, because I think this is the most important part, because there's so many strategies that we can talk about moving forward with this system that you can use to literally double, triple, quadruple your business.
Yep, great. So we're just going to go in here and put in a starting point address. We're going to put a confirmed homeowner starting point address and hit search. So I'm going to find a list, and this is a starting point address to go into our system. All right. So, and I just moved, so I don't even know my zip code now, everybody. So 68516, and we're going to hit search. Sorry about that. Literally just moved 4 weeks ago. So that is my wife's name. So we're going to do a starting point address. You can see here, it's going to define one address, and it's going to give me the option of finding everybody up and down that street, doing a radius, and doing a map search. So I'm just going to go in here and say I'm going to map out a neighborhood, and it's going to bring me up to Google Mapping here. And I'm going to say I know that my subdivision that I live in right here is this angle. So I'm just going to start shading this area.
So as you can see, for agents who are like, okay, I want to reach out to this neighborhood. In my area, it's going to be Barrington Park, because I know those homes are at least $500,000. If I'm going to farm a neighborhood as a real estate agent, I want to farm high-end homes, and build my brand there. For you guys, wherever you guys are living, it's going to be whatever area that there's some really high-end homes. And for this, you can reach out to those homeowners who maybe don't know you, or, like you mentioned earlier, just listed, just sold.
Yep. So let's talk about scripting here. And then then we'll talk about where our data comes from, do not call, all that kind of stuff as well, everybody. But I want to talk about scripting, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts. My goal is to provide you a lot of content today, and then we'll get into the ifs and buts and all that kind of stuff. So here's a just listed. Okay, so my name is Tyler with XYZ Realty. I'm sure you recently saw the for sale sign at XYZ Street. I'm not sure if you know the owners, Tyler and Ansley, but they asked me to personally give you a call to see if you know of anybody who might want to move into the neighborhood. If you have any questions about the property, my number is. Okay, it's not a sales call. This is not a sales call at all. This is a way for you to reach out to the neighbors. Your client is asking you to give them a call, and just let them know if they know of anybody you might want to move into the neighborhood, okay?
And this is the same thing if you're doing door knocking, basically.
Yep. So leverage this opportunity as a way to get more business. We have agents that will do open houses just as a reason to meet with the neighbors, right? And so just as a way to call the neighbors. Is, again, my name is Tyler. The owners, Tyler and Ansley, personally asked me to give you a call to invite you to an open house on Sunday from 1 to 3. I'll also have some analysis on what homes are buying and selling from the neighborhood that I'll be handing out. So again, it's not a sales call. It's a way for you to go in and network with the neighbors and call the neighbors to invite them to an open house. And the same thing, the house sold. So I'm calling them to let them know the house was just on the market for a few days. Tyler and Ansley thought that I might want to give you a call to let them know, here's my information if you might have a question in the future. All right.
And Christy, that gal that we just featured, she gives these folks a call 3 different times, when it's just listed, when it's under contract, and then when it's sold again. And so she calls neighbors the same neighbors 3 times.
Yep, absolutely.
During this whole transaction.
So we'll provide all possible phone numbers, and to address the question where it comes to the phone number thing is, we provide all possible phone numbers. If you want to know which ones are okay to call and which ones are do not call, we'll have you fill out a form with the FTC. It takes about 5 minutes to do, and then it will flag them if they're okay or call or do not call. And then I'm not a lawyer by any means, and then you guys as an agent will have to decide if I'm calling to invite people to an open house or if I'm calling to let them know about a house that's just listed, is that a sales call or not? And so I'll just leave it as that as well. And so it's a great way to build your pipeline when you're calling and when you're talking to these people. So you want to build rapport and look for signs that people are thinking about moving and selling. Okay, so what do you like about this neighborhood? Okay, what don't you like? Well, I hate that the neighbors are loud all the time. I want to get out of here. Okay, well that's a selling sign, everybody. Just listen up. But don't make it a sales call. Don't say, I want to come to your house tomorrow and give you a listing presentation. That's not the purpose of these phone calls. It's a purpose to introduce yourself, to build relationships, build rapport, put them into some sort of database, put them on cue cards to follow up with people, and have those conversations and build relationships. Where are you from originally? What brought you here?
Yeah, and then to capture that contact information as well, the additional, like, hey, I've got some great, I do a monthly e-newsletter. It kind of gives you some really good tips, strategies, ideas to spruce your house up or for decorating ideas or whatever. Can I add your email to that list?
Yep, absolutely. And people like content, So, hey, would you mind if I put you on an e-newsletter where it talks about what homes are selling for? Yeah, I'd love that. I want to know what my home is worth for. People like this kind of stuff. People, why are you calling me? Why are you bugging me? Because it's very important. Because whatever this house lists for and sells for directly impacts the value of your home. Why are you calling me? Why are you bugging me? Because I gave an oath to your neighbor just down the street, that I would personally give you a call to invite you to an open house to build traffic into the neighborhood and build buzz around this property. All right? And then when you're having these conversations, take good notes to build the relationship. So when you're calling and doing your follow-ups, oh, how are the dogs? How are the kids? Oh, I know you had that fishing trip planned, last month. How did it go? People love that kind of stuff. It sets you apart. It makes you the top 10% and not the below 90%, that people who aren't doing these type of things. All right? So we covered this. Where do you find the phone number? So we already hopped in there. So I'm going to talk now about geographic farming. Scott, did you have anything to add before we hop into just farming in general?
No, man.
Right.
One thing I wanted to say though is think about having the addresses or being able to very laser focus an area, and then take into account the flower pot strategy, or take into account building a Facebook page where you can now create a community on a social media site to send out postcards, handwritten postcards, to invite people to a special social community to start interacting and engaging. Really what this is about is letting people get to know you and who you are and what you do for a living, but in a cool way, and doing it with social media or flower pot strategy. Or there was one lady on the call last week that delivered flower pots to everyone in her neighborhood, which was 300, and now she has literally gained every listing that has been in that neighborhood since she started doing that. So guys, this is the really cool way to not have to work very hard, like in just a couple minutes, have all the addresses, but have the information and some phone numbers and all that other stuff to go along with the marketing that we teach you in all these other classes. So just an amazing way to like put your marketing on steroids.
Well, and I wanted to follow up with what you were saying, Scott, about that Facebook page or whatever. But that's a great way, and some agents have told us that, in fact, we're going to talk about Rob Chavez coming up here, but what Rob will do is they'll get to know the homeowners association folks and kind of see, if they have a Facebook page or maybe it's an Instagram account or whatever, whatever the latest thing is that people are into. You guys know that firsthand. But then what they'll do is say, hey, could we add content to that? Can we help you update it? And so then they'll either create that Facebook page, neighborhood page, or they'll become owners of it or be able to provide some content. And then they'll talk about the open houses that are coming up. They'll talk about the fact that maybe there's Friday night movies at the park, because I know that my neighborhood did that a couple times this summer. And so they would have like this big sign that says, check the Facebook page of Bridalwood Association, and then they would have that information. So that's a great way to get your name out, to create a sign that's a usable sign that you put up and take down all the time. So you're not spending a ton of money. We're talking $150 and 10 minutes of your time to create something.
Exactly. And with our platform too is, you can print straight to labels. You can download to Excel. You have it's whatever you want to do with that database. And you talk about, Scott, about narrowing in on a zone, an area. And I have a quote from Rob Chavez. He's a client of ours. We talk to him all the time. He did 110 transactions in 2013 alone. And that's what he had to say about this.
Yeah. Well, most people want to cast a really wide net, but the reality is that if you want to cast a really small, narrow net and then be the one main thing for everybody within that net and that community. So Cole allows you to be able to gather that information. So in other words, when we're talking about that flower pot strategy, you can send flower pots to anyone in any neighborhood across the country if you want to, and we provide that information. And like an arrow, pinpoint who it is exactly that you want to go after, and then engage them in meaningful conversations that are relevant to them and their community. Then you grow in concentric circles from there. So what Rob did is he started in his own neighborhood. He started with the 92 houses that he lives around, and that's where he started, and then they build on. And they literally contact every person on every single street.
Absolutely.
In a zip code.
Yep, exactly. So, figure out, is it where you had recent transactions, or you have a lot of spheres of influence? Is it the area that you live in, where your kids go to school? Is it the neighborhood where your church is located, near a place you volunteer? Decide which neighborhood you want. And then Rob, he created what he considers the zone method, and how he uses our platform as a way to really zero in on your target market. So figure your area or your niche, right? Own the mind share of that market. Through Cole, we have the phone numbers, the addresses, through door knocking, direct mail, advertising, email, whatever you can to own the mind share. And then like what Laura said earlier, network with people of influence in your target market, whether it's attorneys, accountants, HOA board of directors, pastors, business owners, whatever you can do. And then he said, make sure to give back, engage in the community, let them know that you're out there. So in his areas that he targets, that he farms, he talks about in Virginia they have these big winter storms, and a lot of elderly people are in these subdivisions that he works. And so he hires a team, and they go scoop off snow off of the roof of these senior citizens as a way to give back. And I'm not saying that's what you need to do. Maybe it's a clothing drive or something, but let people know that you're human. And again, it helps with those relationships as well, and people really love that as well. And going back to some scripting, let's say you wanted to call into some of these areas as well. We talked about this earlier, but this is what Ron has to say. My name is Ron, Windsor with Century 21. I've seen several properties sell at listing price in your area over the last few weeks. I'm curious with the recent activity in the market. What are your future plans for the property? Another scripting idea is, my name is Tyler with XYZ Realty. Your neighbors, so-and-so, who live at so-and-so, suggested I give you a call. They have been clients of mine for years. with the recent activity in the neighborhood, they thought I should call and introduce myself. And think about that. You know, talk to some of your spheres of influence, your current customers, and say, hey, would you mind if I called some of your neighbors? You know, neighbors all talk and know each other. I know everybody up and down my street, or at least I did until I moved 3 or 4 weeks ago. But I think about anybody in sales. You guys are salespeople. Real estate agents are salespeople, and a lot of them, they don't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a salesperson. So I think about like financial advisors. The first thing I did is when I got a financial advisor, you know, Ron O'Kander, he said, okay, Tyler, here's a piece of paper. Will you write down, you know, 5 people that I could call tomorrow? You know, I think we have a great relationship, and I'm going to mention you mentioned that I referred you to them.
Well,
you know?
and here's the other thing. I do a lot of small business marketing in general, and again, I think as a small business, you are the owner, you are the accountant, you're also the marketing and sales person, right? And so you have got to ask people, and with smartphones, the sky's the limit. You know, how many contacts do you have in your smartphone?
Absolutely.
I don't know, 500?
Yeah.
So why don't you give me some of those names and let me contact them and see if they're interested in selling or buying a home?
Absolutely. So
what's the harm in people saying yes, actually? I mean,
correct.
The worst thing that they can say is no, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So next I want to talk about here, Laura, is we have buyer campaigns. With inventory being so low right now, it is a great way to get into it's a great way to get into certain neighborhoods just with calling and saying that inventory is being really low. So you know, the biggest thing is just leveraging those conversations of, you know, I have a great couple that wants to get into your neighborhood. As you know, the inventory is really low right now. Do you know if anybody's looking to buy or sell?
Right.
And so this is what David Mortoroso said to me last week when I was interviewing him. He says, calling into neighborhoods is a non-intrusive way to build your pipeline for 30 to 180-day follow-ups. The ultimate goal is to always be working 90 nurtures in my database. Traditionally, for every 30 nurtures that I'm following up with, I can get 1 transaction a month just from those 30 nurtures. So I always want to be calling into neighborhoods so I can introduce myself to new people and build relationships.
And that's really interesting, Tyler, because 30 people comes down to 1, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game.
Totally
and
numbers
again,
game.
going back to you're a salesperson, you've got, I mean, it's sort of like dating, right? You got to be dating a lot of people, and you finally come down to the one person that you're like, yeah, I really want to spend more time with that person, right? It's a numbers game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
So
here's the crazy part about that. It's like 30. So 30, right? How many is that per day? Really, if you really realistically wanted to look at this, it's 1.5 people per day. What if you called 30 a day?
Well, what if you called 100 a day?
Exactly.
What if you had what if you had
you wanna be
100
the top
meaningful
1% of the
conversations
10%?
every day?
Right.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And let's face it, you're going to get no's, folks. I mean, if you think that everyone is going to say yes, you're delusional, right?
Yep. It goes back.
Barbara
But
Cochran's,
a no but I'm sorry, Scott, I just wanted to say this, and
Okay.
then I want to hear about Barbara because I find her fascinating.
Yeah.
A no today is not a no tomorrow, right?
Right.
It's just a no right now.
Mhm.
And
Well, two
you
things I
have
wanna
planted the seed as well, because let's face it, I've lived in my house for 8 years. I have constantly been thinking, I'm thinking all the time, like, wow, I really want to sell my house, but then I think about, okay, well, then I have to clean, do some serious deep cleaning, and then I have to move all this stuff, and then I probably should have a garage sale. So there's all these barriers that people are going through in order to move out of their house. But if you can plant that seed and say, hey, we can make it simple for you. I mean, all that stuff is easy. I've got a ton of resources. We can help you do that. I don't have time yet this week, or I don't have time yet in the next 2 weeks, but what if I come and schedule a time at a later time? Make things easy for people and give them kind of a way to get all this stuff handled, right, Tyler?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Right on.
Tyler's one of those interesting people who actually sold his house on his own. But for the most part, I'm not like that. I want someone to help me. I want an expert, and that's where you guys come in. You're subject matter experts.
Yeah. No reason I did that, Laura, is because I live and breathe in this industry. So
you love it.
Yeah. So yeah, Scott, what were you saying?
So two things. One is Barbara Cochran said the difference between a $40,000 a year income real estate agent and a $4 million a year real estate agent is how fast they recover from the nose.
Yeah.
That's she said.
You just got to move on.
It's you have to get back up. Like, and the other thing too is one thing that's so important. I think this is a great analogy. When you're sitting there, and I think I've said this before, but when you're sitting there ordering breakfast and the waitress or waiter brings you toast, and she says, "Would you like jam or would you like jelly?" And you say no, and you as a waiter or waitress go back and start crying and, oh my God, they hate me. And I mean, that's not what they're saying. They said no to, I'm not ready to sell, I'm not ready to buy, but to start the relationship, to engage and interact and make them a part of something is so important. It's not no, it's no today, but like you said, it's not no tomorrow or the next day or 6 months. You have to accumulate people and build the I call it wealth, because the money's in the list, and it's a very small list to make you successful. It doesn't take, if you had 50 people, think about 50 people, if you knew 50, those 50 people know 50 people. Those 50, I mean, it's probably each one knows 50 people, and we're talking thousands of people now that know, like, and trust you. And like you said, not go so deep, so wide. Go deep with the relationship that you have, and stop trying to get more leads and more leads and more leads. Start building relationships with the one you have, because they know so many people. So.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And then keeping a schedule. So this is a quote with the coach that I work with, Scott, and I just schedule is huge. It's scheduling time to prospect. It's scheduling time to call your spheres of influence. It's scheduling time to follow up. It's scheduling time with your family, because that's important as well. So paramount to a long-term major league success, the importance of keeping a schedule is. Otherwise, this business will run you. Smart agents with business mindset set their own boundaries and teach their market how business is meant to be done. Weaker agents let their clients dictate their schedules, and as a result, burnt out and have no life. So.
Well, and really, what's the harm in saying no? You know what I mean? And as an agent, no, I can't do it at this time, but what if we schedule it for another time? I mean, that makes it seem that you have your own, that you're an important real estate agent who has other clients and, again, a schedule.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to just talk quickly about the pricing of this as well, and then we'll hop back into our platform, because we're giving our app away for free as well, Scott. So I want to talk about how our app works with door knocking as well. So the pricing of our platform is literally, a little more than $1 a day, everybody. So there's no contract. So if you want to do a pure month-to-month, it's only $39.95 a month. And that's including the 30% discount they mentioned by being on this webinar, being part of Agents Mastermind. So normally it's about $59 a month, or $559 a year if you buy a 1-year subscription up front. Or like I said, it's only $39 a month. So don't eat at Applebee's one week, and then you use our platform.
Or buy try your system out and eat at Applebee's every day. Because you have
Absolutely.
more business. I mean, so I guess what he's going to show you is we're going to go inside the system, correct, Tyler?
Yep. We'll go in a little bit more.
We're going to show you all the things. I mean, my head's spinning with all the ideas that I could use to have the power behind all these addresses instantly within seconds. So that's where we're going to go now. We're going to show you what they provide. It's currently, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's currently not available on the web in Canada. But
correct. Correct. So it's a CD-ROM product. If you're in Ontario or Quebec, you can call and get a CD-ROM version.
Okay.
Otherwise, in the States, it doesn't matter where you are. Nationwide, we have availability, and you would just
and there's a mobile version. Like I can just do it on the fly. Like I can be sitting there in the address, punch it in, boom.
Yeah, and so the mobile, how it works would be, and we're giving away that for free. So people who call in after we end for a 2-hour window, we're giving away our mobile app for free. It's normally another $10 a month. And how that works is it takes the same data that we've showed you before. So we had that same information where you get their address, what they bought their house for, home value, other information like that. But now think about
can you start, I mean, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you start from the platform of what they would see when they first log in? I think you were just there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you log in, we give you a username and password, and you give you a few different tabs that you would be able to have options to search under. So the one that most people will use here, Scott, is going to be our neighbor search,
Okay.
And that's what I showed you earlier, where you just go in and put in a starting point address. Doesn't matter what address it is. You go there, put in a starting point address, and it will say, do you want everybody, I'm just going to find that here. So here's our starting point address. It's finding it in the system.
Confirmed homeowner, so you know it's a homeowner.
Confirmed.
Okay.
And I'm just doing, and you could, if you take out confirmed, it would just bring up renters as well. A lot of our clients just want to focus on people who own their home. So that's why I put confirmed homeowner only.
Possibly. Can you search?
You can as well, and I'll show you that in a different tab here in a second, Scott, how to find renters as well. So I could say I want now everybody up and down that street, just to find the immediate people up and down that street. I could do a radius and say I want everybody within, you know, a half a mile or a quarter mile of that specific address.
Okay.
Or I could do a map search here, and that's what I showed you before. And that's what most people do.
Okay. Okay.
Because what it does is it's better than a subdivision, because it really lets you narrow in. Because, you know, like my subdivision, there's an old part of the subdivision and the new part of the subdivision. So I know now by clicking these arrows around here, and this is where I lived up until about 5 weeks ago, and I want this side of the railroad tracks right here. The railroad tracks run right here to Van Dorn.
Interesting.
And that lets me map out that area. And if I want it to be a little wider, you know, I can grab one of these balloons and widen it out if I wanted to.
So you could
and I just go in here and say,
too. Okay.
Yep, and so I just would now grab the available fields, all the people within that area that I shaded. And so you can see we get their name, their address.
First name, house number.
Yep. Yep. So all their complete address, a phone number where available.
Cool. Wow.
What they bought their house for, their original purchase date, what they bought it for, and what it's valued at right now according to the county assessor. And then any of these names, I actually can click on their name even to get a little bit more information about them. So sometimes we'll have birth dates, you know, and again, not to scare somebody like, hey, I see your your birthday's next month, but more or less to say, you know, there's a fine line there, but to say, hey, you tailor your message versus someone who's 30 versus 80, you know, that route, you know, as well.
And Scott, what's great about this too is it's an interactive preview grid, so you can drag and drop the information, you can resort it, you can add or subtract those columns that you do or don't want. So you don't, I mean, it's like a Excel spreadsheet.
Yep,
you know
or you can just put it right into Excel. So I could just put all this list and put it right into Excel, and that way it's there. Here's the neighbor, here's the 800 people in this territory. Or you can go in here and do automatically import the list to a certain area as well. So we're integrated with a lot of the CRMs and dialers that we talked about. So you just go in here and pick which dialer you're using. If you're using Mojo or Art, any of these guys.
You got Phone Burner in there or no?
You would just download. I'm very familiar with Phone Burner, but you'd actually just download the list and put it right into Phone Burner.
Easy.
Into Excel that way. I'm really good friends with those guys over there as well. Absolutely.
Yep.
So it's
guys,
an easy way to grab a list.
I mean, here's the first thing I think is like, okay, we get paid off of, I mean, I'm not trying to be greedy or anything, but we get paid off volume, correct? Units matters, but if I'm selling $20,000 homes compared to $500,000 homes, I'm going to make a lot more selling 5, and it's probably about the same amount of work, right? So if I want to target a higher volume market neighborhood, I could literally go in here and know every single address without driving around or hiring somebody. And if you got another way to do this, so be it. But think about I mean, I don't know. I get excited because I love the mindset behind using social media to tie people in, get to know them, engage with them, find out about their families, their pets, where they go for vacations. I've set up neighborhood. I've showed that class before where we set up neighborhoods inside Facebook and call it whatever the neighborhood is. And how cool would it be to send a postcard saying, hey, your neighborhood's on Facebook now, and even buy a domain name like Woodlands Neighborhood or Woodland is now, whatever you want to call it, and then send out postcards and then drip them, like just take flower pots to introduce who you are with the flower pot strategy and the single property websites. And I mean, I can't even imagine what your business would look like in 90 days if you literally just spent the time, and you said one of the key words was put it in your schedule to market and build your audience and make the phone calls and engage and interact with people. It'd be silly.
Absolutely. And I just had to pull up this slide here while we were talking, Scott, because this is exactly what you just said. I started using Cole last year for just listed and just sold calls. Bill Dallas, he's down in Florida. My coach that I work with suggested I move my prospecting up to a higher price point. I use Cole to target the neighborhoods. I have listed and sold 4 homes so far using the system. 2 were double-sided, so there you go. And then Lisa Flores, I just met her probably about a month ago in Miami at a big retreat that I was at, and she signed up, went to my table, was like, I need to renew, Tyler, I love it. She was actually at my table selling the product for me, and it's like, I use it, it's great. People are around. I was like, okay, Lisa, stay here the entire week if you could. But she sent this to me. She goes, I moved to Houston after selling real estate in Illinois for 10 years. This forced me to build my client list from scratch. I use Cole to call people around just listed sold and neighborhood farming in general. I use information such as square footage, purchase date, and additional intel to chat with prospects and strike up conversations. I've had my best year yet, and it's thanks in part to Cole for the accurate intel. So that's partly some of it to do with as well. So, but let's go back into the platforms.
Yeah, couple questions coming in that I think if you got a second here for a couple questions, and then we'll do another
absolutely.
Search. Oh, yeah, I want to do the renter thing real quick, but hey, it says, Diane Miller, I appreciate you being here. It says, how quickly is that updated? Meaning, if the property's sold, how long before the new owner is listed?
Yeah, probably about 30 days is what it ends up being. It's not going to be. We get a monthly update with the data sources that we use. So we get a monthly update. And it's not going to be 100% accurate, Scott. I mean, I never tell people. I usually say with confirmed homeowners, probably about 95% of the addresses should be accurate, And
But what a great opportunity if it's incorrect is to be like, well, hey, welcome to the neighborhood, and start the rapport. Use your communication skills, right? I think we're all communicators.
Absolutely. And I know in the Facebook group, too, Scott, I thought I'd see somebody who was asking about renters. How do I get in front of renters? Will they cover that?
Right.
So, yeah, this is one of the searches, too. You would just see that there's this tab that says renter. I'd go in here and put in 685, what was that address? 68518. I think I pulled one up earlier here.
You could do 68116,
you want to try my zip code?
Too.
I only have Nebraska loaded up where I'm at right now.
Okay.
But I'm just going to say it Surfside. Let's say I want to know. I could just say I wanted all the apartment renters or house renters in a zip code, or I can narrow it down by a street name if I wanted to.
Okay.
You can see that here. I'm going to hit search, and it's going to bring up.
You did apartment renters mailing. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what's great about it, too, it's got the length of residence. And so then you know if your sweet spot is between 0 and 3 years, right?
15 months.
You don't want to focus on the 15-year renter. They're probably going to just stay there.
Never going to. Right there.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a great way, we actually have the tenant's name.
And then you got a map link as well.
Yep. So which will give you what the property looks like as well here. So, so you have apartment 14, apartment 15, apartment 16, up and down that as well here.
Very cool.
All right. And then what I was going to talk about here is what we call our Home IQ, which is the app that we're giving away for free. And so we encourage door knocking, so call, mail, and door knock into neighborhoods. And so with our app, what we have is it takes the longitude and latitude, the coordinates on your GPS on your phone. So now if you're out in front of a property, you lift up your phone and put it up in front of the property, and it will tell you who lives there, how long they live there, what they bought their house for, the same information that I was showing you before. But it actually allows you to have that information before you door knock. And again, not to creep somebody out, Scott. I wouldn't say, hey, want to stop by, I see your birthday's next month. You don't want to be doing that. But if you say, hey, I just got done talking to the Millers and the Gables down the street, or I stopped by the Gables and they weren't there, but I wanted to stop and introduce myself. All of a sudden, you're dropping names, everybody up and down the street. Oh, I know them. I should talk to these people. And then I can put in notes, so I can tag a note and say, dropped off a business card. There was a yellow Volkswagen out front. So now I can pick up the phone and call these people later on and say, hey, I stopped by your property. We just listed a property down the street. I'd stopped by and given you a flyer and my business card. I want to just make sure you got that and see if you had any questions for me about the new listing on the street. By the way, I saw you had a yellow Volkswagen out in the driveway. I love Volkswagens, and again, it just helps build that rapport. Or maybe I talked to Abdul, and he said, we're thinking about retiring in the spring. Not now. We're not going to move now. But, yeah, definitely email me some information about what the market conditions are right now. So what you can do is you can tag those properties on your phone and then come back into our system, and you can find them under what we call the Home IQ tab. And these are all the properties. So like this morning before the webinar, I just went for a quick walk and tagged a few properties by our office.
Very cool. So you can
All right.
see neighborhood shirts, mobile, renters. So big question coming in, is it just home phones or is it cell phones? I see cell phones tab there.
Yep, and so it would be an upgrade. So right now, Scott, 58% of homeowners still have a landline. So there is lots and lots and lots of people to call, especially if you think about the people that you're going after. They're in neighborhoods that are tend to maybe be a little bit older, maybe people with a little bit more money that have been more established neighborhoods who haven't moved lately. They still have a landline. It's the people maybe the brand new subdivisions.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Quick question coming in. How do I get this, man? Like, where do I go?
Yep. So you just call us up. Yep.
As far as do I go to your website? Can I go to your website to sign up? If I do, what does that look like?
Yep. And so I would actually have you guys just call. I'm going to bring up that number now.
I tell you, man, there's a lot of people on this call, so I don't know. Is there a yeah. I don't know how many people we have working on the phone.
To get the discount, Scott, that everybody wants, is the 30% discount. You have to call us. And I tell you what, let's just extend that for the next, instead of the next 2 hours, I'd put 2 weeks here, but I meant to put 2.
Okay.
But I meant to put 2 hours. How about we just do it for the end of the day? How about that? Just to give everybody a chance.
How about 2 days? Can we give them 2 days?
Yeah, that's fine. So what's today?
Just because if there's any issues with the phone number or
end of the day Friday. End of the day Friday.
Okay.
End of the day Friday, because I know there's we had a huge group. I mean, I saw the number; it was astronomical. The number of people on this call, Scott, and it's a huge group. And you're right. Unfortunately, on our website, it doesn't allow us to put a key code to get a discount. I want to make sure your audience gets the discount, Scott, as well.
And what if they're not happy with it? What if they get this and like, man, this just isn't for me? Is there?
Yeah, we have a 30. Yeah. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. We have some laws in there that you can't download more than 2,000 names.
Okay.
Because as you know, people like to take advantage of money-back guarantees, and we've had agents in the past download 100,000 names, and the next day it was like, oh yeah, I don't want it anymore.
Well,
because it's a truly unlimited platform, and we encourage you. If you do the month option, do it month to month because we're updating all of the time. Focus on a new neighborhood each month. Getting in front of new people as well. And you talked about the landline option before. We do have an upgraded package, and I'll let you just call in and talk to one of our reps. But if you wanted cell phones to be included, we have cell phones for about 40% of the addresses on our file. So it's a great way to get additional contacts as well. And so that is an added fee.
Are cell phones part of the do not call?
They are. So cell phones, and we'll scrub those as well. We'll check them against the do not call list if you want to go that route, so people can put their cell phone number on there as well. But it's a great way for in neighborhoods where you might not have, it might be a neighborhood where people might not have very many landlines, a newer neighborhood or something like that. So it's a great way to go in there and find some of those people using our cell phone tab. So I'm just going to do a same search that I did before, and I'm just going to pull up a street. Again, it takes a little while because we're going through 140 million addresses in our system, but I'll show you how it will start to supplement cell phones for some of the landlines we don't have as well. So while we're thinking about that, Scott, any other questions for me?
Yeah, I guess here's the thing. I don't know. You guys want to give some feedback? Is anybody using something like this? God, man, I see so many ways to use this thing in so many different categories as far as building your social, private Facebook group in a neighborhood that you want to own. If you, heaven forbid, live in a big neighborhood with 200-300 homes, what a great way to own the place and get to know your neighbors. And so the more people you know that are neighbors, the more referrals you're going to get, the more listings you're going to get, the more buyers. I mean, all these people, it's just not just one listing. It's not just one neighbor. It's one neighbor who has 25 to 50 close friends right on their speed dial on their phone. So think about it that way. And if try the flower pot strategy would be an amazing thing. Phone burner, we've done a phone burner class on how to use phone burner and why to use phone burner, because to leave 100 messages is kind of annoying and gets old. So we can leave one and have it dial, and somebody can even do it for you. So let's see.
Yep. Absolutely. So what I brought up here, if they did activate our cell phone tab at an added charge, again, talk to one of our reps to get that. But you'll see it will start supplementing cell phones for the people that don't have a landlines in specific areas. We don't have it for everybody, but it will start supplementing as well.
Yeah,
and I'm
so
going to
the
pull apart.
discount, yeah, and very clear. Just so to get the discount, you just mention AMM, Agent Mastermind.
Absolutely.
So mention AMM when you call. They'll give you the discount, and you'll be good to go. So
yep. So that number here is on the screen. It's 800-800-3271. And again, we'll just extend that. I know that my sheet originally said 2 weeks. I meant to put 2 hours on that. So
cool.
Fat fingers. But yeah, we'll extend that for the rest of the week, just because we have such a large volume of agents on here, Scott.
Here's a question. Does it remove the commercial numbers when you plot a map?
It does. We have a separate tab to search for commercial properties if you wanted to do that as well. In the system, you'll see a tab that says commercial. Otherwise, all the other searches are just pure residential searches, because most of our clients are residential agents, work on that side of the industry.
Cool. Here's so call 800-800-3271. Make sure you mention AMM for the discount. Question coming in: what is compatible database manager like top producer? So here's the thing: if the database management isn't in the drop-down list to export to, the cool part is you can export as a CSV file, I'm guessing, and then import into whatever database you have right now.
Exactly.
All right?
Yep. You just put it into CSV or put it into Excel. From there, you can put it into any CRM you might be using. And we have a great customer service team here that can help you with all that kind of stuff as well. You could call in and say, hey, I'm using Top Producer. We have a lot of quick guide instructions on, hey, if you're using Top Producer, let me send you this PDF. It will walk you through the step-by-steps on how to get into Top Producer.
Now, is there another number to call from Canada?
There is on the Canada website, the Canada folks as well.
Here, yeah.
I didn't even know that offhand on that, Scott. So Laura's going to look on that real quickly to get that.
Super
easy. All right,
easy.
I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll post it on the private Facebook group, and I posted it in the chat window down there. Our private Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/agent mastermind. If you are not part of our group, please go there and sign up. It's not sign up, but just join us on private Facebook group. We're 11,300, almost 400 and growing. And it's a really awesome, I just can't tell you how excited I am to see the interaction, engagement, questions. There's no reason to be shy there. When you post there, it only shows up inside the group for those members, and so your friends and family and coworkers aren't seeing the questions. So don't be shy. Whatever you want, the only way we can help you is to ask the questions, and the interaction from agents on the page is just outstanding. So.
Hey, and Scott, I pulled up that Canada website. It's coalinformation.ca for Canada. And the Montreal number is on your screen. It's 514-382-2881.
All right.
Or the toll-free number is going to be 800-967-0778.
Okay, and that's for Canada?
Those are for the Canada folks.
The Canada numbers, and if you want to maybe copy that 800 number and put that on that PowerPoint, that'd be awesome. So for recording purposes, after people watch the recording, they'll know what that is. And guys, man, use this as a mailer, handwritten postcards. Nobody does that anymore. We did a class on that, how to farm your database, which we'll be doing again shortly. We did that back in December. Let's see. AMM discount, you guys got that. So it's 800-800-3271 for the U.S., and they'll put the Canada number on there. I can see the use. Yeah, somebody's saying I can see the use for loan officers, and you guys, man, work. If you're an agent or a loan officer on the call, either way, but mostly agents. But if you're an agent, work with your loan officer and put a plan together to market to renters, market to. God, you could do a housewarming party if you wanted to in a neighborhood. Invite all the neighbors. Why not? What better way to get to know your neighbors? Of course, okay it with the person you did the loan for or helped buy a home. But all right, so let's go back into the system one more time. Just show the couple buttons, and then we'll end the call with that. And Tyler and Laura, I appreciate you guys being here. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you bringing this to the group, and I know you guys. Anybody that takes advantage of this and incorporates it into their business. There's just no way to fail, because it's all about, you said it best, it's a numbers game, and the more people that know, like, and trust you and know what you do for a living, the more people you're going to have referring you business to help them buy or sell a home, or their friends, family, coworkers. So it's never ending. So,
absolutely. And so just think of us as a way, Scott, to get in front of the not Mets. So again, you have your Mets, your people that are in your database, your spheres of influence. We're a way to get you in front of the not Mets. How do you build that database? So you want us to jump back in, Scott? What did you want us to show you here?
I think we're good, guys. I mean, he showed you the system inside. I mean, it's really super simple, and I appreciate that. Jeff brought up a good question. I know the answer to this, but does it locate FSBOs? Well, here's the cool part. You have an opportunity to build relationships before they think about going FSBO, and I got to tell you, I don't know what the number is, and Tyler, you probably do, but isn't it 86% of the people that go FSBO within a very short period of time end up listing with an agent?
Absolutely. Yep.
86, 80. So, I mean, it's high, real high number.
Yep.
And if you're that person building a relationship before they even think about it, surveys, questions, knocking on the door, hey, how's it going? Just introduce myself, whatever. Some crazy stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's what the Scott, that Scott Vince, when he calls Ron Windsor, when we talked about him before, Scott, and again, that's why he just calls everybody, knowing that expires and FSBOs are in that area. So it's great.
Karen Green says, Karen Green, I appreciate you being here today. It says, this looks great. I've been shopping around for a service like this, and this is very competitive and looks like it offers more info. Thanks, we'll sign up. So welcome on board, Karen.
Great.
Guys, I would love to
We've been around for 70 years, too, Scott. So that's what I love about it. So we're not a company that just popped up.
Yeah.
We've been around forever. So
Good. All right, guys. So we're giving you till Friday. Write down the number. We'll give you that, and we'll end the call. Tyler, Laura, I appreciate you guys sincerely being here, and just look forward to helping people get one more listing, one more sale per month. It's amazing what that does for a family, and really what this is all about is helping other people to have a better business, more freedom. And we'll, of course, we got a same time next week. We're going to have another Agent Mastermind class. Got a great class plan for you guys. Excited about it. Don't miss it. If you're new to the group or new to this class, go to facebook.com/groups/Agent Mastermind. Give Tyler and Laura a call at 800-321 on the screen there in the U.S. and the Montreal number is 800-967-0778. So Tyler, Laura, I appreciate you guys. Awesome stuff.
Yeah. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you guys
Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Make it a great one.
All right. Bye-bye.